What is tea? What can you learn about tea? What can you not learn about tea? I'm going to spend the rest of my life studying tea, and I will never learn everything there is to know about tea. You could eventually hear the temperature of the water. I know that's crazy, but you could also see the temperature of the water. When I was in college, I was a ballet minor, and I ended up going to my ballet teacher said, look, you're really inflexible. you need to go to yoga. And so she sent me to yoga. And my first yoga class, I came out and I felt the same way I do after drinking tea. It was that moment that I realized, oh, this is definitely more than a beverage. This is something else. If I feel this way after doing this 1.5 hour long practice, and it was very traditional yoga, and it was really beautiful. The identifying of tea as something deeper.
I think that's what's so special about this place is the relationships you have all over the world, and that you know where this tea is coming from.
Yeah, but tea is the support for meditation.
It calms the brain.
It calms the brain, it calms your nervous system. It completely ties you to the moment. It grounds you in your own body every time.
Welcome back to the SageFull Living Podcast. We are here at Admari Modern Tea Culture in Little River in Miami, and I'm so excited to be here and be joined by my dear friend Adrienne Etkin.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm super happy to be here as well. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. We go way back, but you go even further back with tea, and you've taught me so much about tea and brought so much beautiful, amazing tea into my life. But let's start with, what are we drinking today?
Yes. So today calls for Osmanthus Goddess. So Osmanthus Goddess is a really beautiful tea cake, roasted oolong from Angxi. It's a tea guanyin that is scented with osmanthus flowers. And it comes to us from our producer in that region. And it's very special tea, absolutely delightful, and I can't wait to share this with you.
Amazing. Now, why is this the tea that you chose for today?
So today calls for some grounding, but joy, okay? And to me, this is a very joyful tea. Osmanthus is a joyful flower. It instills happiness. It's bright yellow. The trees are beautiful that it grows on. It's just perfect. It'll ground us, but open up our hearts.
Beautiful. I'm sorry, what country was it from?
From China. So this is from Fujian, from Angxi. Okay, so this is a really beautiful example of innovation in tea as well.
Amazing. So Adrienne is going to just pour tea in the way that she does and that she is trained, and we're just going to talk as we drink our tea.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you'll learn something along the way, even just observing the making of tea, the brewing of tea, because it is an art form.
What do you smell?
It's very sweet.
Yes.
There's something fruit, like a sweet fruit, but I can't identify.
Osmanthus can have flavor notes of apricot. So sometimes when you're pairing it with a oolong like this, you get maybe chocolate-covered apricot.
Ooh.
So I'm preparing the tea using Gong Fu Cha, tea prepared with effort. Within Gong Fu means skill, practice, patience, all the things. So Chinese tea ceremony, but it's just a ceremony of life. It's just tea preparation. We're just making tea.
And what I love is that this can be done at any time. This can be by yourself, with other people, while you're talking, while you're in silence in a meditative way. But let's get back to when tea became...
Yes, sorry. Let's get back to... college. So I was in college. So I've been drinking tea since I was 7 years old. Okay. And not just, once in a while. I drank tea a lot. I love tea, obviously. But my whole life I've loved tea. When I was in college, I was a ballet minor, and I ended up going to my ballet teacher said, look, you're really inflexible. You need to go to yoga. And so she sent me to yoga. And my first yoga class, I came out and I felt the same way I do after drinking tea. And it was that moment that I realized, oh, this is definitely more than a beverage. This is something else. If I feel this way after doing this 1.5 hour long practice, and it was very traditional yoga, very traditional hatha. It was like, Shavasana. It was probably Shivananda, but I didn't know it at the time. And it was really beautiful. To see that difference, the identifying of tea as something deeper.
That's so interesting that it came from yoga and it didn't even come from the drinking of tea, but you had been drinking tea for 10 years at least of your life, and then all of a sudden this revelation of tea more than a beverage.
It was through breath and yoga and movement. And at that point, because it was yoga that caused me that shift, I did start taking more religious classes. I went to Loyola in New Orleans, and you have to take a bunch of religious classes. So I ended up choosing Buddhism, and we did a bunch of Eastern philosophy classes, and that started to help open up the world of tea as well, a little bit deeper. And then in my 20s, that was it. I was just tea.
Just tea.
Tea.
You say sometimes tea is like experienced, not just consumed.
Right.
What can tea teach us about being present?
Well, you're going to show me right now. So when we take our first cup of tea, Summer, if you would like tea, it's here. So you're going to take your first cup of tea, and you're going to take a moment to just inhale the aroma and be completely present with the aroma. You can come and grab it. No worries. Your nails look so nice. So just the aroma connects us to a different level. I mean, this style of tea, this type of tea. And then we take our sip. We slurp so that we can aerate the tea. Feel it. Let it coat our mouth.
I taste the apricot.
You taste apricot.
Yeah.
And caramel. I get a lot of caramel. And then if you take a moment to just feel the tea move through you. Feels where it goes.
Yeah.
It completely ties you to the moment. It grounds you in your own body every time. Even if this was a tea bag, okay? Even if this was like a Lipton tea bag.
We're so in the same wavelength. Just about to ask that.
Right. Yeah. So even if it's that, you're sitting, you're taking the time, and even that will connect you to the moment. It's all about you, obviously, but the tea just is a tool, and it is the most delicious tool.
I think the temperature has something to do with it as well, because at this temperature, I really do feel it running through my body.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's hotter.
Yeah.
You know, this is one of the reasons I love the new kettle, is that it pours faster. So, yeah. I think that regardless, through many cultures, tea equals presence, right? You need to be present to prepare it, even a tea bag. You know, I tell people, it doesn't matter what you drink, but if you take 5 minutes to prepare your tea, that 5 minutes can readjust and reset your entire day.
There is something to boiling the water, yes. You know, and listening to it boil, pouring it over the leaves, seeing the leaves open themselves and transform, and then putting that into a cup. Even if I'm doing this to go, I can feel it. And I'm present in myself of creating that tea. If I'm not doing it like this, but I'm creating myself a mug to go, I still have that presence while the tea is being made.
For sure.
Yeah. Opposed to throwing it in a microwave or boiling.
Microwave.
I know. Or boiling on the stove even. Like that water. There's something to me.
That is something.
That a tea kettle changed the way that I drink tea.
For sure. When we teach tea here, you learn the 5 stages of boiling water. You learn to be present with your water so that you could eventually hear the temperature of the water. I know that's crazy, but you could also see the temperature of the water. So it's the temperature is really important with tea.
I feel like you can't get this with coffee.
Yeah, I can't talk shit about coffee. My dad is in the coffee industry.
Not talking shit,
and
but there's something.
I grew up in coffee. There can be very intentional moments with coffee.
Yeah.
But I think it comes from within. We look at coffee and we use it as a tool to just get shit done. It inspired the Industrial Revolution, right? We had coffee so we could get more things done. We started building more, moving faster. I think that there is the ability to take coffee and sit and have a mindful moment with coffee, but the actual caffeine won't allow it to go very long because you'll be just jumping up. And with tea, we have L-theanine. Tea, Camellia sinensis, true tea, is the only naturally occurring source of L-theanine. So we get that caffeine, but we also get this calming, focusing amino acid that makes us feel so good. So tea is so special.
Yeah, that just brings me back to presence when you say that L-theanine and that calmness. it's a more presence, or coffee, yeah, it's going to give the hype. And now every corner has these coffee and matcha and mixed things, and
coffee
it's just,
and milk and sugar.
Yeah, exactly. It's milk and it's sugar, and that's just not good for you. You know, tea
It's
is
beverages,
what could be more natural than tea.
Nothing. I would take this Osmanthus Goddess any day over the best matcha latte.
So in your 20s, you really started to develop or harness and learn tea.
Yeah.
When did it become a career?
It was 2006. I had just moved back into my parents' house with my tails between my legs, my first divorce. And I had nothing, literally nothing. I came home with zero. I had a ring, which I sold, but I had nothing, no money, nothing. And I was devastated. It was a real
heartbreak.
There was so many things that happened during that time. And it was not to do with my divorce, but because of that, there were decisions made and things happened. So I came home and I really had to sit with myself. And I'd been meditating a lot previously to this. I took time to sit with myself and say, what do I want to do? I have nothing. So it doesn't matter what I do.
It's starting from scratch.
I'm starting
anyway.
from scratch.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, I should do what I love, what brings me joy. Okay. But I do have a loving family and I can take a loan. One day I'm sitting there and I'm like, a cafe. Wait. I don't want to do a cafe. I've been in the restaurant business for so long. I do not want to be in hospitality, but I want to serve. Okay. But I love tea. Okay, so we're going to open a tea shop. We're going to open a tea shop and I'm going to have a classroom and we're going to teach tea. And everybody was like, oh my God, you're crazy. And I said, yep, I'm absolutely crazy about tea. And I drafted up all my plans. I took a $50,000 loan. I sold my rings and I started to build Admari. And we opened up our first store at the beginning of 2007 in New Jersey. And it wasn't easy. Admari, the name Admari is a combination of letters from my name, Adrienne, my mother, Marianne, and my father, Richard. Admari. So it was really a family affair. Yeah. And it was really beautiful. My dad ran our website after he got off of work of being a coffee broker and would come home. He would work on our site, and we had a really robust online store at that time as well. So it was really fun and crazy and amazing.
And that was your journey.
That was my journey, yeah. And then I started to travel. You know, we opened the store. I started to travel a year after that to go learn more. A lot of people ask me, where did you learn tea? I learned tea so many ways. Through one of the first places I took some classes was the Specialty Tea Institute. Don't know that they're still around. I think they morphed into something else. And it was a really good jumping off point for me. I did already have a lot of tea knowledge, but it helped organize it. And one of the things that I found about tea, look, I had been implementing tea into my menus in my hospitality career. So my first loose tea menu was at my bar in 2003. It was a long time ago. The Specialty Tea Institute helped me take all that knowledge and be able to correlate the same way I taught wine is the same way I can teach tea. And so it made sense. Then I started traveling and started sitting with teachers in China and Japan.
So when you opened the store, you knew already that you wanted to teach and you wanted to share this. It just wasn't about serving tea. It wasn't just about selling tea. No. This was about expanding knowledge and awareness of tea. Around the world or in the US to start. Wow.
So we had a classroom, and that's why when we opened this store, I wanted the classroom in the store. I wanted everybody to walk by and see us learning. And what are you doing? What is tea? What can you learn about tea? What can you not learn about tea? I'm going to spend the rest of my life studying tea, and I will never learn everything there is to know about tea.
I believe that. How does one start traveling for tea? Like you opened a shop, that's great. Where was your first teas coming from? Like you didn't have those. Did you have some relationships?
We did have some relationships. Yeah. You know, again, my father's in coffee. So we did have some early relationships that helped to point me in the right direction. My dad being in that trading world, had some connections to introduce me to. That was the beginning. And there was a lot to learn. I made lots of mistakes. I started going to shows in Hong Kong to meet more producers, traveling to the farms with other companies that were taking tours. One of the earliest trips I took was with a gentleman named Phil Parda, and I think they're still around. They have a little shop. But that was the only way you could do it back then, right? Now you just go on Instagram and, you know, you find somebody and you order tea and you say, oh, I source tea from this guy on Instagram. You don't know what you're getting and you don't know anything about tea. So there's a learning curve.
Right. I think that's what's so special about this place is the relationships you have all over the world and that you know where this tea is coming from.
Yeah.
I want to say like we call it single source when someone grows and sells their own, but like you're getting it from that single source. You know the farmers, the generations, you go to a farm in Japan and it's been through grandfather and great grandfather and generations, and now you're bringing this tea here to us in Miami, and around the world and around the country because you have the online as well.
Yeah.
What has tea brought to Miami?
We were just talking about Miami tea this weekend. First of all, opening a tea shop in Miami when I first moved here in 2010, 2011. And the initial plan was to open a shop here. But I got here and said, oh, no, Miami's not ready for this yet. We're going to wait.
No, not back then for sure.
Yeah. And now we have 2 Tea Masters Cup champions from Miami. So the international competition Tea Masters Cup, the winners were both people from Miami, myself and Michael Ortiz, from JoJo Tea. And I think that says something about Miami. We may not have a lot of Asian culture in Miami at this moment, but it's growing. And I think that's helping the spread of tea, right? It's a hot beverage. And a lot of people say, oh, it's Miami, it's a hot beverage. But you know what? So is a cafecito and a colada. And coffee culture is wicked strong here, right? Yeah. But when you look at tea, cafecito culture and tea culture are very similar. You're going to go get a colada, you get your little cups, you share it, you pass it around. Look at us. We've got our little cups. I'm making tea, we're passing around. Cafecito culture is tea culture. So I think Miami is wonderful for tea, and I think tea is wonderful for Miami. I think more and more people are drinking tea, bringing the center back to themselves through tea.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And in my world of this mindfulness and whatnot, tea is a great accompaniment to relaxation, to calming the nervous system.
For sure.
And I think one thing you've really brought to Miami is community.
Yeah.
We have such a great community. It's so beautiful what you have built here around tea. And myself, every time I come here, I'm fascinated by the tea people that are sitting at the tea table.
Tea people are the best people. Tea people are they're the most interesting, dynamic, intellectual, wonderful people. Tea people are the best people.
People sitting here that you wouldn't expect that they come out with this tea knowledge or this, oh, I drink this type of tea in this type of way. And fascinating. There's so many different ways. What I think is so beautiful is there is so much tea. There's a tea for everyone. And I don't know how someone could say they're not a tea drinker.
So, we get people in here frequently that say they're coming with their spouse, their partner, their friends, and they say, oh, I'm just here for them. I'm not a tea person. And that to me, something flips in my brain and I go, okay, I'm going to find the tea. So I talk to them. I figure it out. And then we try a bunch of teas and eventually we find something. I've never had a person leave here and not be somewhat more interested in tea or have a more positive outlook on tea. A lot of times people will say, oh, I don't like tea. I don't like hot beverages. Well, guess what? We can do tea cold. So cold infused tea for Miami is something that we find really beneficial. We're actually teaching the art of cold tea next week, 2 weeks.
Oh, it's great for summer.
Yeah. So it's the ideal time to learn how to cool down naturally by using tea or botanicals. We do focus on true tea here, Camellia sinensis. Camellia sinensis is my life. But there are some very beautiful other botanicals that we love to work with. Chrysanthemum, rose.
Oh, Egyptian rose.
The Egyptian rose petals are amazing.
And you also have a proprietary blend
called Kikasam.
Yes.
And Kikasam, so Kikasam is so when we were talking about my opening of the store, before I opened the store, I had Kikasam. I'd always played with blending things. And so when we started to think and dream about this company, I was dealing with a really bad bout of endometriosis, for that whole year. And so sometimes I had to take medication, sometimes I was in pain, but I had to keep going. And so I started to find tea and blends that worked for me to keep me going, to kind of ignite my fire. So I blended Kikasam. Kikasam is a proprietary blend of pu'er from China, yerba mate from Argentina, and cardamom from Guatemala, honeybush from South Africa, Assam from India. And we blend it for this amazing, delicious, energetic tea blend that's all natural. And we tested it. And we tested it with fighters. We tested it with kendo practitioners, and everybody loved it. And that Kikasam will turn 20 in December.
Wow.
I think we're going to have a party.
I think you should.
I think we should have a party.
It's amazing. Are you still doing the kombucha?
We're not doing any ready to drinks or kombucha.
It took me a minute to adapt to it. It was very strong for me.
It's very, very strong.
It's very strong, but now I know for me, I use less of the mix.
You can make it. You can
and
make
I
it
can
less,
make it
for
yeah,
sure.
really
I like
easy.
it really strong, and it's very good. It's very good for stomach. Our first tea before we had them in the store, then we ended up getting very popular. And Kikasam, I had a RTD bottled beverage, and it was on Fox Business News, trying to pitch for money to get more Kikasam on the shelves. But at the time, it was not right. So
it's coming.
It's coming. Well, look, we have, as you know, we have these secret special plans. I think that's where it is, because you said it, community. To me, community is so important.
Yeah.
And more important than a bottled beverage at the moment. And I think right now we need community. People feel disconnected and scared and
lonely. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And that's why coming in here to me is like, it's so beautiful, because you never know who you're going to run into or who you're going to meet. It's a variety of people. It's a very eclectic. There is no tea type.
No.
You know, there is so many
everybody from every walk of life.
Every walk of life.
Every walk of life. Yeah. It's
can
really
drink
amazing.
tea. And I really love the mindfulness to it, where it does ground you. Yeah. And when you drink it in a way that's intentional, you know, how it can transform your day. Yeah. I mean, meeting you, learning what I've learned has changed my life. Like I was maybe a coffee in the morning person, run on the go. And now I can drink tea all day long. And even for fasting, like if you put sugar in coffee or milk in coffee, your fast is over. Yeah. You can drink tea all for hours yes. and you're still in a fast.
Yes. Tea and fasting is the best. And tea is so good for you. It's, you know, we never talk about the benefits here. It's one of our rules. You know, people will come in and ask us about the benefits of what's the benefit of this tea. I don't love to say anything about particular teas. Teas have so much benefits, but there's a deeper reason you should drink tea, and it's that connection feeling. It's that grounding feeling. But it does have a lot of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, all the really good things. And that L-theanine, it drives me batty when I see all these people taking L-theanine supplements. Just drink tea. L-theanine is the only naturally occurring source of, Camellia sinensis is the only naturally occurring source of L-theanine. There's a few strains of mushrooms and like one other plant that produces L-theanine, but it's the biggest source.
What does L-theanine do for the body?
It's an amino acid that gives us this calming, focused feeling. Okay, so that's why everybody loves matcha, because it's got a high boost of caffeine, but it also has a lot of L-theanine. So we're not going to go through the whole Bodhidharma's eyelid story, but there's a story that we tell to demonstrate the fact that tea was drank by monks for many, many for 1,000 years, let's say, to keep them awake during meditation. It's got the caffeine, right? But to keep them calm and focused during the meditation. You know, you couldn't meditate with coffee.
No.
You know, you drink a few sips and you're like, okay, what business am I starting? Okay. But tea is the support for meditation.
Calms the brain.
It calms the brain. It calms your nervous system. The last few days have been trying for me. We sat down, I drank this tea, and I feel worlds better. I just feel, I was going to go home early. I'm like, yeah, you know, I think I'm okay. And it's the tea. Always the tea.
So for the audience out there, you know, a big thing I love to get across from you is that nervous system reset.
Yeah.
And maybe meditation isn't for you, maybe mindfulness, but can you not sit and drink a cup of tea? You know, and it doesn't have to be like this. It can be a mug of tea. But if you bring your presence to the tea, even in the first few sips, you're going to feel different in your body.
For sure.
And that's our goal here, is that nervous system reset, slowing down so you can live more aligned and happier in your life when you're in calm.
You drink tea out of a mug, out of a flask, out of a cup, whatever it is. good tea is better because you'll get more of the good stuff, right?
Let's go into that a little bit, okay? Because obviously I grew up with the Lipton tea.
Right. Yeah, me too. Red Rose was my first love. My God, I would pick up the box in my grandmother's kitchen and I would just smell the tea. And it was the crappy dust and fannings. But you know what? The aroma was there and it was amazing.
Amazing. So what is the difference, you know, like, because I know now it's kind of like, even if you look at a tea bag a lot, it's dust.
Yeah. And
that is not dust.
Right. So
you know, I'm going to bring that in so people can even see what those leaves look like.
Ooh, it's okay. So we have grades of tea. Tea is harvested and processed. We've also got the most important thing to understand from the get-go. We've got commodity tea and we've got specialty tea. Okay. Commodity tea is, you know,
Tetley, Lipton.
100%.
Okay.
Even a lot of like specialty tea shops like Tivana carried a lot of commodity tea. Flavored teas are usually, they use commodity tea to produce those.
What is commodity?
Large scale production facilities throughout multiple countries.
Okay.
You know, not just China,
Mass
but
production.
Mass production throughout China, but also India, Kenya, Argentina, mass production of commodity tea. Then we have specialty tea. And that's what we do here, specialty tea. Specialty tea also has different grades. All right. But when we look at commodity tea, you've got different grades. And when you go to tea bags, you're using the lowest grade. You're using the fannings and dust. We literally call it fannings and dust. But it steeps up fast. It's for a purpose. I got some commodity tea as a sample from one of the producers in Vietnam. And the tea was so good. It was absolutely so good. If we had a use for fannings, I got it for an associate of my father's. Who has use for fannings, but you know, it was good tea. It makes a good, mean batch of iced tea. You know, it's cut really small. It steeps up fast. It's super caffeinated. It's a tool, a coffee tool, you know? So specialty tea is produced much differently. It's produced with care. You know, tea, there's so much to learn about tea because tea is very complex. It starts either as a seedling or a clone, and it's planted with care. It's tended to with care. It takes 5 to 7 years for a tea plant to produce harvestable leaves.
Wow.
You need a lot of tea to produce, for one of the highest grades of tea, bud tea, silver needles, by Hao Yunzhen. You would take 50,000 kilos of fresh leaves to get 1 kilo of processed tea. So we have, of course, the rest of the plant would be harvested for something or used for something else. But that's the demonstration. You need a lot of land. You need a lot of care. You need a lot of workers. You need a lot of people out there harvesting, or you're using machines. Hand
picking.
Yeah.
Right?
So a lot of our teas are hand harvested. But we do have a lot of teas that, you know, well, Japanese tea, they don't do it on a grand scale. A lot of people will use machinery, and that's great because it's the elevated Japanese tea style, right? Chinese tea, we can look at Chinese tea and we look at gong fu and we look at the nature of it. It's fluid. You're pouring water. There's an art to it that's a little bit more emotional. Right? You get to Japanese tea, you get to your very formal chanoyu and chado. Okay, chado, the way of tea. Chanoyu is the tea ceremony. Hot water or water for tea. Chanoyu is very formal and fixed and very precise. And the tea harvesting reflects that, you know? So it's really interesting to see how much care goes into the cultivation of these crops and these plants.
And there's so many different countries that you're importing from, and so many different ways that they're doing it. So there's that whole aspect of it, right? Of learning all these different ways, but then there's also just the aspect of drinking higher quality tea.
Right.
And drinking the tea. You don't need to know and have the knowledge that Adrienne has to really feel the effects.
No, you just put it in some water and drink it.
And find what resonates with you. And there's thousands of different variations of tea to try.
It's ever expanding. You know, my last trip to Vietnam, I met with a couple of young tea producers that were doing all sorts of innovative things. You know, they didn't come from tea families. They're just in love with tea. And they live in the city. They live in Hanoi, and they'll go up to the tea mountains and do their own processing and try new things with different leaves. it's fascinating. My favorite styles of tea are these new innovative teas.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I would think it would have been like the ancient ways. And
they are, and I think that's going back to some of the ancient ways. But if we start talking about the ages of tea, we'll be here forever.
Right. Well, so what do you think the future of tea is then?
With social media, with the introduction to social media, we have a future with tea, in the West, right? So I think that this is kind of untapped territory. I mean, I've been doing tea for 20 years and we're still just starting, right? In the West. It's a process. But I think because of social media and because of the connection from here to Hanoi or here to Tokyo or here to Hong Kong, we have instant connectivity and a sharing of knowledge and a sharing of tea and tea culture. The other thing is translating of books about tea into English so that we can consume them. And there's a lot of books that are just finally starting. We've got a couple
coming through.
Yeah, like this is the Chaozhou Book of Tea was just translated. I've started to read it. We're doing that next for our book club.
It's interesting because what you just said really struck me. It's like that next generation is going to take tea to a new place.
Sure. I'm optimistic, and we're on a podcast and I'm talking about tea and I want everybody to love it. But there are some real worries with Japanese tea industry. The youth doesn't want to get involved. I know a bunch of young people that are doing cool things in Japan, but it's not as widespread. Matcha, of course, has kicked off a fury of madness in the Japanese tea industry, shooting the price way up, even for sencha and all the other teas. It's always interesting in the tea industry. And tea has been a part of crazy things throughout history. Many wars, revolutions, the American.
I am from Boston.
Right? The Boston
the
Tea
Boston
Party.
Tea Party where we
no taxation without representation.
And we threw all the tea into
right? Tea was so important.
It's interesting because as you were talking, I thought, wait a second, tea for me was like a British thing. Where did their tea come from? I mean, they were big colonizers. Obviously, they took it from somewhere else.
Yes, they did.
But when did the British become like tea time? Like when did that?
So 1600s, they loved tea. So there was a lot of tea being consumed through China. Mm-hmm. Okay. The story is eventually the British ran out of silver. They couldn't pay for their tea. And the Chinese said, sorry, no more. So
they took over Hong Kong?
So they took over India. So they colonized India.
Yeah.
They sent a spy named Robert Fortune, a botanist, a Scottish botanist, into China to learn and steal. They stole all the plants from China and planted them in India. Now, later on, they did find tea naturally, Camellia sinensis growing naturally in Assam. So we've got Camellia sinensis and Camellia sinensis assamica. And assamica is the Indian originating, and sinensis is the Chinese originating. They're big leaf and small leaf. But they went and they planted a bunch of tea and colonized India, developed the railways to transport and ship the tea. And it's fascinating. That whole transition wasn't as easy as I'm making it sound, because we had the opium wars that were really a lot about tea. We've got some really great books. There's been amazing people out there writing books about tea. For tea people, we want to sit and talk about tea all the time. So we all eventually say, okay, well, let me write something.
Right.
Let me get a book into here. I have a book in the works, and eventually we'll have that hopefully sooner rather than later, explaining my fascination about modern tea culture and modern tea culture in the West, and highlighting all these beautiful locations where we source our teas. Yeah.
Is there any tea production in the U.S.?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is. So I can't speak to quality because I've not tasted it. The last time I tasted a tea grown in the Americas, it was not good. And this was many years ago. There are people in Asheville, I hear, doing great things up in the mountains in Pickens, South Carolina. There's a gentleman, Table Rock Tea. He seems to be doing a great job growing some great stuff. There's people in Hawaii that are doing some great work growing tea. And I know there's a lot of enthusiasts planting some, but as I mentioned before, you need lots of land. You need lots of workers. Unless it's fully automated and vertically integrated, you really, and for us, that's probably not and there's Charleston too. There's the Charleston tea plantation.
Cannabis growing, do you think they can do tea hydroponically?
Yeah. So you and I are so it's so crazy. So when I went out west to live in Seattle for a year to get involved in the cannabis space, there was the thought for me as well, if we do this with cannabis, maybe we can do this with tea. Now, we would need the cost, right? So we would need so much area. Yeah. We would need so much infrastructure built, and the cost is not going to be worth it. Nobody's going to invest and get a return on investment. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought about it. I asked a lot of questions. I looked at some numbers, and it's just
because of the volume that you need. Where cannabis, you're getting.
And tea, people, look, people are willing to pay X amount of dollars, for really vintage pu'er, really specialty tea things. But we also always try to get very high value teas, very good quality, but good pricing as well, because we want this to be accessible. I think tea should be accessible. Good tea should be accessible. And one of the things that good quality tea is it's an affordable luxury. So even if money is tight, a bag of tea will last you a while, and it's such a moment. It's what, $20? And it will last you, and you sit and you drink tea. This tea, was 5 grams of tea. We have sat and drank, and we're going to continue to drink this tea. It is going to keep giving.
I think that's something that really blew my mind, because when I first started drinking tea in the loose leaf way, I would make a pot, I would have a few cups, and then I threw the leaves away. And then Adrienne was like, no, you put them in the refrigerator and you can keep pouring them. And that has, it extends the life of tea. You can get so much out of it. So much right. Out of it. You don't need to have money to have tea.
Right.
There's so many things that we're talking about I want to come back to.
Yeah, for sure.
The Tea Master. What was that? So obviously there's competitions out
Tea
there.
Masters Cup. Yeah. So there is an organization called the Tea Masters Cup that started this competition probably 8 years ago now, 9 years ago. And it was based in Russia, and it was many other countries. And it came to the United States in 2019. So my friend Tony had, for a while, run an organization in specialty tea, because we don't really have a lot of representation anymore in tea. We used to. There are some associations, but he had started to try to really promote tea. Tea Masters Cup, he said, let's bring this into the States. So I messaged him and I said, I definitely would love to compete. I know it's 2019. I don't have a store at this point. I'm only selling online a few things, but he's known me forever. And I went and compete.
What did you have to do? Is it like this?
There's actually a big rule book, which I read everything because I'm a nerd. And there's 4 components of the competition. We only did 2 of them. We did tea preparation and tea mixology. You get 15 minutes. You have to prepare 2 teas. For tea preparation, you get to bring your own tea and have your own little show. And then you have to pick one from what they have. So you have to do a surprise tea. Tea mixology, you've got to bring a drink that you've created, and then you have to do one on the fly. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at, you give me like 5 things, I'm MacGyvering it. I am creating. So I was really in my element. So I did win in tea mixology. And I won with Miami masala chai. I did a cocktail to honor Miami and tea. So we did Miami chai, which was our wonderful tea blend, which we are discontinuing, unfortunately. Aww. But I did curried oat milk, Havana Club rum, and it was incredible.
Wow.
It was incredible. So I curried oat milk. We did the really beautiful concentrate of the Miami chai and some beautiful Assam and Havana Club rum. And then my other cocktail, my surprise cocktail was cold steeped gyokuro, kuradashi, so ice steeping. And then I made really quickly a cilantro and red berry simple syrup. We did vodka, cold infused gyokuro with the simple syrup, and I topped it with matcha foam.
Who would have known that there could be a cocktail, an alcoholic cocktail that's based with tea?
Yeah, so tea mixology is beautiful. So I previous to my company, I was in hospitality, and I had Wine and Martini Lounge, and I worked for many people through the years in New York as well. one of the things that at the Wine and Martini Lounge was that we had this loose tea menu. So we started playing around. This was 2003. I was making syrups from fruit. I was not using the bottled, the Kuiper stuff that everybody was like for sour apple martinis were really big then. So I created it with apple puree and caramel and lime, and it was amazing. But so we started playing with tea too, because we find that introducing tea to new people that maybe only know Lipton and have no concept, bringing them in a drink, they're, a cocktail, great.
Wow.
And the ability to do mocktails and zero proof with tea, it's unsurpassed. I mean, I do some consulting, and that's amazing.
Are there any restaurants making this type of drink?
Sure. Walrus Rodeo, they just put 3 new drinks on the menu with tea. I think one of them is zero proof. We're going to go this week. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
I'm in. So we're going to go this week. Walrus Rodeo is definitely doing Right Hand. The bar Right Hand is one of our wonderful cocktail partners, and I highly recommend going down to check. They've got amazing, amazing creative uses of tea in their cocktails. He's amazing. Diego is just spectacular, and it's a really fun bar.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, Right Hand is awesome. Well, let's do that. So we'll go do
Walrus Radio and Right Hand.
Yes.
Being left-handed, I'm okay to go there.
Yes. no lefties allowed.
Oh, come on.
You're gonna have to use your other hand.
All right, I will. I've been in India, so I know that way. I want to talk a little bit about matcha because matcha is such a craze and it's everywhere. And even I feel like now because I have a teenager, so it's like every new TikTok sensation is opening.
Matcha,
oh my God, she's
matcha.
like, I want to go to this place. And then I'm looking at these drinks and I'm like, it's 1,000 calories. And where is the matcha even from?
Right.
So
So one of the things that's really grinding my gears at the moment is people are using really crappy matcha in a lot of drinks because it's just milk and syrup. So you're not getting all the benefits that you would, and it's the consumers that need to start asking questions about their matcha at their favorite cafe. What kind of matcha are you using? Where is it from? Who produced it? If they don't know who produced it, that's okay, but where is it from? Knowing something about the tea is really important because tea absorbs everything and it can leach everything from the soil. And matcha is really special because we eat matcha. We're consuming the whole leaf. This tea we're infusing, right? We've steeped it. This is an extraction.
Yeah.
Matcha comes is pure leaf. It comes from tencha. You're whisking, you're suspending leaf particles in water molecules, and you're eating the tea. So you're consuming the whole leaf. That's great. It's super healthy if it's good tea.
Yeah.
If it's chemically grown tea, what are you consuming?
Yeah. And I want people to hear that because there's so many of these places popping up now with these matcha lattes and
I have to say from a vendor perspective,
Mm-hmm.
the operators of these places just want to make money. And I spoke to many, many people and, we've got very fair pricing for our tea, and those who care buy tea from us for their matcha, and those who just want really cheap. I just got somebody wanting matcha for a ridiculous price, and no Japanese tea is that low. I don't know where they're getting their matcha from.
Yeah, I wonder if it is even
right.
Matcha
So matcha needs to be from tencha, a shade-grown tea. So you have specific cultivars. In the last 20 days of growth, they're covering the plants so that they get the heat of the sun, but not direct sunlight. And what that does is that it increases the chlorophyll. It pulls in, it creates more antioxidants. It increases the polyphenols. So it's a very specific process to produce matcha. It's not just green tea powder. And a lot of people are just taking green tea, processing green tea leaves and grinding it and calling it matcha. I had one from a very big supermarket chain that my mom brought me. I won't say their name. And like one of the sticks, because it was during our matcha shortage last year. And my mom thought it was cute and so brought me some. And I was like, all right, let me try it. And 100%, it was definitely not matcha. It was probably sencha. But it definitely wasn't Japanese. I mean, I do know I have been doing this for a long time. The consumers have to really be active in asking the operators for good products, for things that are good for them, healthy for them. That's the only thing that will shift,
Yeah.
You're paying $8 for a latte. Your matcha better be good. you know?
Oh no, these kids are getting these drinks and it's full of flavors and sugars,
I know, but
and it's not really matcha.
And one of the things that we're going to be watching from this is that, like bubble tea, it will elevate. So bubble tea also, was it still is. You've got all the sweeteners and all the milk teas and all the things like that. But eventually you start developing a taste for the tea. And I know a lot of these bubble tea chains are starting to offer single origin teas now as well. We did bubble tea at my shop in New Jersey because we could do bubble tea there. And we did really good Chinese gunpowder green tea as our base for the green tea. And we used really good it was a Ceylon for our base for our black teas. We used syrups that I made. It was still syrups. It was still milk, but it was good, clean milk and clean syrups. And the bubble tea was spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. We did a blueberry and a lychee, and we had a matcha one at that time. This was 17 years ago. I've been selling matcha for 18 years. So,
bubble tea's been in America for that long too?
So,
where does bubble tea come from?
Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah,
because it's tapioca, right?
Pearls. I used to get bubble tea.
The base is tea?
In 2000. Okay. I used to get bubble tea.
26 years ago?
Yeah. So I used to get bubble tea. I used to drive when I lived in that state, whose names I won't mention. I used to drive to the college area to go to this little bubble tea shop. And when I had my first surgery for my endometriosis, my ex-husband brought me a bubble tea when I got out. And I will always remember this. Unfortunately, he had gotten it before he came there. And so it was like 3 hours later and it was like all soggy and melty. But he had gone and got me this bubble tea. So that was very kind. And bubble tea's been around for a long time. And it did start in Taiwan, probably in the 80s. I don't know exactly, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just want people to realize, and especially the youth, of when they're buying these drinks, it's full of sugar.
Yeah, but it is full of sugar.
Full of sugar. I remember trying a boba tea with my mom, and I didn't realize how much syrup you can tell them. And I took one sip, and I was like, "I'm sorry,
can you
need to remake this." Yeah, I can't do it anymore. I can't do the sweet.
No.
I laugh because I remember as a kid drinking tea. I didn't even want to leave the tea bag in. I was like, leave it out. I wanted the tea very light.
Yeah.
And then I do remember.
But that's amazing. You recognized that you liked your tea, but you liked it a certain way.
Yeah. But then as I got older, I remember being like, I can't believe I'm leaving the tea bag in. I was always the person to squeeze it out or even take it out. And then there was the time where I would squeeze it out. And then there was the time where I leave it in. And now the evolution.
Now you're doing Kung Fu at home.
Yeah, exactly. If everyone listening could take one lesson from tea and bring it into their daily lives, what would that be?
Presence. 100% it would be presence. Tea brings us into the present moment. It has the ability to slow time because when we become fully embodied and fully present in ourselves, time can slow and stop. And I think that's one of everybody's biggest complaints is time. We don't have any time. We have to go, we have to rush, we have to do. And we still have to rush and do all of these things, but we don't have to rush. We can be present in our moment and then go on to our next task. And tea helps us do that, especially tea on the go. For me, it's very important. It sounds like an addiction, but it is very important that I have my flask of tea whenever I'm running errands. Sometimes supermarkets and places with a lot of people are very overwhelming for me. And I find that tea is very helpful to bring me to myself when I'm not comfortable out in the world.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So that is a super important thing. So if you're like me and you get overwhelmed with the world, lights, sounds, people, having the tea in a flask and just taking a sip allows you to, okay, cool, let's go,
And there's something about that traveling through the body.
Yeah.
It's true what you're saying. It really is, because I notice my days when I have, I love that you call it a flask. I'm going to start calling it a flask.
Yeah.
I am in a different mindset, and taking that sip of tea, it does ground me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start making sure that I have tea like this with me in traffic all the time.
All the time.
Especially here in Miami.
I have my bowl. Yeah. I always bring my bowl with me too, so that, if I have a travel or whatever, I bring my tea bowl with me. This, by the way, these beautiful bowls are made by an artist in the Catskills, and we love him. This is wonderful to have. You have your flask, you pour your tea for a few minutes, and you just drink your tea. It's presence.
Presence.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share with our audience that we might not have covered?
No, I love spending time with you. I love that we get the opportunity. I think it's funny that the only time that I get to spend time with Susan is something we have to film. So we need to change that, and we'll have to go do something soon for sure.
Well, we are. We're going to go to Walrus Radio.
Go to Walrus Radio, right hand.
Right hand. From the lefty.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you.
Guys, Admari Modern Tea Culture. It's on Northeast 2nd Avenue and 82nd Street. Yeah. In Miami. It is such a treat of a place to come to. Not only can you come and just buy these loose leaf teas that she imports from all over the world, there are certain hours where you can sit and drink tea with Adrienne and with the community table. And learn and grow and connect. And it's just, it's a beautiful place, and it's a pleasure. Also, you're looking for gifts for people.
We've got great gifts. And look, we're going to have for this holiday season, we've already started to work on them. So we are going to have amazing boxes coming soon, for over the summer. I'm working on them. So you'll be able to just grab samplers, or they're great for gifts.
Yeah. So and it's beautiful. And I love that every time I mention this place to someone, they're like, oh, really? I've been looking for tea. Oh, my mom loves tea. So for me, I'm always spreading what I enjoy. And this is one of the places. So thank you for bringing.
Thank you, Susan.
And thank you for bringing all of this to the world.
And thank you for doing this. Thank you for bringing you into the world and sharing your light and your joy and all of the beautiful things.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for supporting me in my path.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too. Right. I have to run next door.